Hello and welcome back to another happy hour. I am creative director Ryan Fring here at Backflip, and I'm super excited to have my good friend and colleague Jordan Post right over here. Say hey, Jordan. So yeah, we talked a little bit about it before. We're going to be talking about the art of pixels. You are a cinematographer. But before we get into that, just want to check in. How are things going in these crazy, unprecedented? We talked a little bit about it before, but I was like, wait, let's wait till the stream. So how's it been? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that. And as soon as we talked about that, and you're like, yeah, and we're buying a house right now too. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, you have to facilitate the hobby. Yeah. Oh, okay. Let me pause you right there. Uh I gotta check your audio. Somebody just walked in and said we can't hear Jordan. I'm getting levels on you, but yeah, this is super strange. Jordan has just been telling us the most interesting things, so I apologize if you can't hear him. Let's see, here, you go ahead and say something so I can try to listen to it over here. Yeah, I'm getting volume here. This is part of the joy of live. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm still not getting you over there. Oh, you know what? So I set everything up in a different area. There we go. All right. Go ahead. Talk to me.
Hello, can you hear me
Yeah.
now?
So I'm about 100% sure that we're going to get you. Uh,
Okay.
how has it been going? The uh, pandemic. Let's start back there.
Sure, sounds good. It's been a trip. Um, we put money down on a house 2 weeks before the pandemic hit, um, and that was a little stressful, but we made it work. I have one client that is considered essential, so they've been kind
Hmm.
of keeping me busy um, for for a good amount of time, and then like there's been a few other clients who kind of just got right back into it. Um, I just got a text from my wife. She says she can hear me now. So, um, by the way, my wife is beautiful and amazing, and I love her so much.
Good shout out. There you go. We're gonna expect the really hard questions from Brittany for
Yeah,
Jordan. So go ahead and submit those now that we
yeah.
can actually hear Jordan.
But yeah, we've been getting, since we closed in the house. Actually, it was on the 26th, so right when the quarantine was like up. Um, we didn't really plan it out that way; it just kind of worked that way. But um, then, for whatever reason, I just had like like everyone wanted to work that week, so um, I had to actually turn down a day because we had to like move our entire house. Um,
Hmm.
and Yeah, and so that was back into it. So we've been pretty fortunate. Brittany's been working as well. So yeah, just trying to spend as much time with the family and kind of take advantage of it.
Hmm.
We've been getting a lot into like gardening. I did a lot of land, planted some arborvitaes and stuff ourselves. So
Nice.
learning all the house adult things now.
Enjoy this house honeymoon for as long as you can.
Yeah,
Uh, you can, I mean, so we've owned our house for about 10 years and I love doing work on it. One of the challenges is just finding time, as I'm sure you're very well aware. COVID provided a unique opportunity where we're all at home all
yeah,
the time. You can't do other things, so you're like, hey, this is a great opportunity to fix a lot of things or pick up a new hobby.
yeah.
But oh my gosh, what just happened? I've replaced all my appliances. Like an appliance stops working, and you can't just call, the landlord. You have to
Yeah.
be like, "Is this something I can fix for like $10 in a couple hours? Is this something I have to pay $500 for?" This
Yeah.
appliance actually only cost $500. Like I just fixed my water softener, and we have a plumber who's really really great and does a lot of plumbing for us and super inexpensive, so that's one of the reasons I love him. But he's just also up front about everything, and he's like, we're gonna have to replace this. These cheaper ones, they have these computer brains, and so we can't really fix them. You'd have to replace it, and it would cost several $100s to replace that unit, and it's only a $400 $500 machine anyway. So he's like, "Let me get you a good one," and quoted us like $900 to get it in, get a good one in. And then I went and I looked online. I read the manual. I did a couple things, and then I got it working again. And probably took me a month to get all that done. Like every a couple days every week, taking a look, thinking
Yeah.
about stuff, trying some things, and then like, all right, well, I gotta go to bed because I have a shoot tomorrow morning. So
Yeah.
it took time, but I love doing that stuff. And you know, it's nice when you don't have to do stuff and you can choose to do stuff and upgrade. But welcome to the wonderful and terrible world of home ownership, guys.
Yep. Yep. Being an adult.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I will point out Hannah S., who is our designer here. She is such a good viewer. She always texts me and lets me know who we can't hear. Um, we're doing this. I'm doing this at the office today, so I have completely different hardware, but the settings kind of transfer over. So everything worked except I had one checkbox to make sure that we could hear Jordan. So I finally got that going. This is the joy of live. So
Yes.
please do post your questions down below. Um, we haven't gotten into any cinematography yet, and we will. But I did also want to talk about what we're drinking today. I'll start because I'm a little ridiculous. It's kind of like lunchtime, so I've got a little smoothie that I'll crack open in a minute, and I've got my Clarb, my sparkling water. But today I've got some special drinks because I'm at the office. I've got a little bit of sake, good stuff, little rice wine. Um, and then a client gave us some champagne for the launch of their website. So I've got a little bit of that. That might be an excessive glass. Like I might not drink all this, but since we always advertise Carbon 4, boom, right there. Go check them out. But What are you on today, Jordan?
I got let's see if I can get it to Splendrift.
Splendrift. Does that have
Spin,
Splenda in it?
spin, Spindrift. No, I don't actually. I don't know. I don't. I think I think it just has like carbonated water and lime juice.
Bad marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice. Staying hydrated. So you you mentioned that during this, it's been nice that your wife works as well, and you guys started doing photography. She started doing photography, and how do we say it? Do you assist her? Is that
Yeah,
is that kind of how that works?
yeah. So we kind of. I mean, I've always done photography as like a side, like fun hobby,
Mhm.
and along with like shooting and everything. Shooting video has always been my main job. But then yeah, we'd have family or friends that on the side would ask us to do photos for them. So we just started doing it, and like I would take the photos, and Brittany would post people and stuff, and eventually got to the point where she just got, so she because I didn't get the exam she wanted. So I kind of was just like, here, you take and learn it. And so she kind of did that, and it
You're
kind of
like,
blossomed
you
into.
think you can do better? Fine. And then she did.
Then she did better. She always does better. She's way better than
Nice.
me.
It's always good to
um,
marry up.
yeah, 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 it is. But yeah, so her business, she runs the photography business, and I help out on shoots. She does a lot of weddings, so I'll go with her and we'll second shoot. I'll second shoot for her, and it's just kind of fun to work together, and get to spend a lot of time together and make money, and just have fun. Um,
Hmm.
so I really enjoy just spending time with her. So if we can make money and go places. That's great.
Yeah, how do you kind of balance that? My wife uh, had her own business for like 10 years, and it can be very difficult because I think she feels like she has to be responsible for everything and doesn't want anybody's help. But we do sit down and talk like, okay, what's our plan this year? What's your hourly rate? How's that working? What's comparable out there? Try and talk business, because I obviously have some business experience, but I understand that she has a very personal attachment to it, and so she doesn't want to feel like or to actually have me take over any of these things, and she does a great job. But how does that dynamic work for you guys? um, is it kind of clearly delineated, like she's the boss or she's the creative on that side and you're the business person on that side, or have you guys figured that out yet?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I think we figured it out. She essentially just runs the photo business. It's just her business. Obviously, I'm a part of it.
Hmm.
I'm a part owner, but like, she gets all the clients.
By law in the state of Wisconsin.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She books everything. She does all the editing. I just kind of, help out however I can. Um, so she's like very much the boss in that situation. Then like I have my own like video business,
Hmm.
which she's not really a part of. I've just kind of been doing that by myself. I try and give her advice, but she's very smart and always knows better than me. So she's very good at researching
Mm.
and like figuring stuff out. So I mean, I think because of that, like her business is done so well. She's insanely good at marketing. She's just a very good like customer service person. Her skills are like just really great at that. So and she's a really good artist too. Like she
Nice.
takes great photos.
Someone's getting a massage later, maybe this afternoon yet. That's awesome. Yeah, and it sounds like through the last few years, you guys have been very successful. She's been very successful with it, and I love photography because your marketing is just your work.
Mhm.
You create it and you give it to those who have purchased it, but then you can just reshare that as your work. And I know that you had mentioned too that this year was, coming into March was really really great, and then COVID hit and it slowed
Yeah.
down. But for that side, has that all started to get going again? You know, are we seeing more momentum there?
Um, yeah, I mean, it's like for her business, it's starting to come up. It's definitely, yeah, it's definitely like, it's there, but in like maybe a little bit different, where she has like smaller shoots.
Mm-hmm.
My business, like it's going. It's not like anything like last year. Like last year, I think I worked like 25 days in a row or something, and like like it's like standard to work just like in the summer, like essentially
Mm-hmm.
from June to August, sometimes September. It's usually pretty busy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Right.
where if I get like 8 days, like that's pretty normal at least. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's starting to pick up a little bit. People are starting to get a little bit more comfortable with shooting. So
Yeah. 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 Sure. So let's kind of switch gears to that. And I just shared a post yesterday um, about a shoot from 2 years ago that was amazing. But like, maybe let's just start at the beginning. How the heck did you get into this? You know, like you're a cinematographer, but like all of us, you also help out and you do other roles at different times. You know, you gaff for us as well. And just loving film, you're always willing to help and jump in and fill those couple of roles that you excel at. But how did you get into this? Like what's your story,
sure,
man?
yeah, yeah. So in high school, I kind of always, I don't know if you guys ever did anything like it's called like Fine Arts Week at Middleton. I went to Middleton High School, but it's like essentially a arts week where kids like produce, videos or animations, and or like just any sort of digital media. So I got really into that, and I was like, hey, I want to do video. So I went to UW Stout because my guidance counselor said that they had a program, and then I got there and realized that they didn't.
Oh
So I transferred
no.
to Milwaukee. They had like one class where you just like use a mini DV camera. It's like a Canon or not even a Canon Vixia. I don't. It was a GL2, I think it was what it was.
Oh nice.
Um,
I've used
yeah,
those before. Those are some of the first
yeah.
cameras I worked with too.
It's like 3 CCD kind of
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I transferred to Milwaukee for their film program. And then I kind of got involved with production, this company, or not company, this group of people that identified as production club. And that kind of got me into the film market. Um, and I kind of started to like my first job, I think I was working as a grip on that. So I was kind of like, that was the first time I touched, like a 1K light and,
Mm,
C stands, and like the, this was put together by some people who had been working in the industry. So they had like a professional gaffer, and they had like a lighting truck, and like they actually got a
very
Red
cool.
One when that like came out. So there's all these like
Back
super
in its glory
great,
days.
yeah, with this like super intense camera, just trying to figure out how to make a short film.
Hmm.
And that kind of got me hungry for it, and kind of gave me a direction. So
Yeah, what
I,
about it? I mean, for me, watching behind the scenes, I was like, I've always kind of loved art. I drew, I would perform and be kind of goofy. I always loved those sorts of things. But then when I saw behind the scenes, and I was like, oh, I think I
yeah,
could do something like that, and it looks like a blast. It
yeah.
was kind of those two things that led me into this field. But like, what about it was so interesting to you?
I think the fact that you can just like, I've always been very creative person,
Hmm.
in like fact of like building things and making things. I like when I was young, I made like a lot of like I made a tank out of wood that had like wheels, and you could like go in it, and you could like go around as for water balloon fights.
That
I
sounds
made like
amazing,
a boat and stuff.
and
Um,
also not very fair, but
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, it had a little hole you could stick a gun out, like a water gun out of, and it's for kids and
Nice.
stuff. Little roof on top.
Yeah.
Um, but I've always kind of enjoyed, making things. And, when I went to Stout, like I was always the kid, like it was like drawing, and I was always the kid who had the worst drawing on the page, on
Oh
the
no.
up there. So And I was like, oh, I can't do this. And
Like
then
you
I found
like you had an
video.
art class when you were in college.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
When you first said like we were drawing and I was the worst, I immediately thought of elementary, but no, this was
Oh
college.
no, this is college.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Um, but yeah, just and then like I kind of found video and like the fact that you can like you find the space and you put all these objects together and like you light it, you put a camera down, you choose a lens, and I think the and like just creating this space and the potential of that, like with the actors and blocking and everything, you like to make people feel something. I think was the drive to be
Hmm.
able to like maybe change someone's mind, um, and like make the world slightly better. I kind of was kind of the draw.
Yes, man.
Um,
All
yeah,
those things. Yeah.
yeah. It's just kind of like it's such a powerful medium
Hmm.
that it takes a lot to master it, um, and it's very challenging. It's
Hmm.
very um, exhausting at times, but I think the payoff is so great in what it can do.
Hmm.
And if that's just like affecting one person or a million people, it's still really cool to be able to do that.
I lost you there for a second, but I think you said, if you impact one person, or I'm guessing
A
you said
million,
more, a million.
yeah,
Okay.
or,
Yeah.
or a million, yeah. I would say a million, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice.
yeah, but just be able to do that, it's really powerful and really
Hmm.
just amazing. So
Yeah. Yeah. I resonate with that too. I wonder, do you did you have that before Stout at Milwaukee? Because we can talk about how unique the Milwaukee experience
yeah,
is. But like, when did that desire to, even if it's just like help one person out or make one person feel better, or just create something that adds a little bit of good into the world? When did that kind of come in?
I think it's always been there. I've always enjoyed movies, and just felt that they're really powerful. I guess I just never really realized that I could be a part of that until
Mm,
like maybe I moved to Milwaukee. Um, yeah, I think probably around that time.
sure. Yeah. When did you graduate? I think you are a little younger than me.
2013,
Okay.
I took a semester off to change schools. So
You know, let's see. Uh,
I think it would have been
that
2012 technically,
is that when
but
you transferred there?
no, I think it was 2010 when I transferred.
When did you
So it might have
graduate?
like graduate high school,
No, no, no. College.
college 2013.
2013. Okay.
Yeah.
So I graduated 7 years, and it's funny because I have a baby face. You may seem older because you have an amazing beard, but I'm apparently 7 or 8 years older than you are. One day I hope to grow a beard like you can.
Yeah.
Um, so Milwaukee. Uh, I went there for a year and then I transferred because of one experience I had. And I know there was a lot of great filmmakers there, and obviously we made it out. You made it out, and are working and doing great stuff. Tim Motor made it out. Did Chad Halverson go there?
Yeah, he went there. He didn't
Okay.
he didn't graduate. He kind of dropped out because he didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, but
So.
we went through that program,
Hmm.
and you guys completed it and survived. Uh, the thing that I remember is just how experimental and artistic it was,
Hmm.
and I feel like I've always been a and I just watched this episode of Community, so I want to say grifter, but not a grifter, but just someone who convinces people to do things. This is a funny story with TC, as TC, our good friend, who's a writer in LA. He's written, I don't know, 150. Maybe that's low. I feel like it's multiple hundred films over the last couple of years for pay. So that's what he does. He's a writer, but he does everything else. He's a director and acts and but I went to high school with him, and my first job was at a movie theater, and he eventually became a manager. And we were high schoolers, we were teenagers, and we'd goof around in the break room. And I remember one time, I believe I convinced Chad to do like a suplex on someone, and they broke a table. And those two got in so much trouble. But like I always carried a little bit of guilt because I was like, I was the one who convinced them. And I told him, years later. But where's I going with that? Milwaukee, we work and we can make a living on working. But I feel like when I went there was such an emphasis on like just be artistic, like don't think about anything else. And I had one class where we were just creating a film, and I actually did it with another friend of ours, Dave Geisler. I had him come act for me, and it was just interesting to me, psychological kind of thriller where two people are talking, they're walking out of a grocery store and they see each other, they're walking to their cars, and one's like, hey, how's it going? Good. How are you? Great. Thanks for asking. Blah, 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 blah. But then it switches into what they're actually feeling inside, like, oh, you're the worst. And I thought it was kind of fun, super juvenile, because it was kind of like the first production I'd ever done in that way, aside from like fun short films. But I feel like I got like a C on it, and like, yeah, it's just not, there's just not much to it. And the guy who was like praised was this weird kid, and maybe he's doing great things. I hope he's doing great things right now because he just thinks so differently. But like him and his cat rolling around on the floor, licking his cat, like his cat would lick him, he would lick his cat, and there was no story except that it is him and his cat. And yeah, he was like the man. And so after that experience, I was like, I think I'm going to get out of this program because I don't know if I can survive. Because there's a bit of an art for art's sake sort of vibe. And, we're successful business people now who get to do art and get to be paid. We're like mercenary artists, is what I like to say. But yeah, what was your kind of experience? Because you're obviously very talented. And after this question, we'll show some of your work. But you're obviously very talented and you're very successful in business. So how did that all go?
Yeah, when I got there, I guess I didn't realize it was so experimental. And I wasn't super stoked about it. It wasn't like, I just think it wasn't what I expected and what I wanted. But so like a lot of the work, yeah, like there was a lot of weird things, a lot of weird movies they had us watch. There was one called Fog Line where, it's a fog line receding for half an hour. And then you have to write a paper about it.
Did you ever watch the Moth Wings one?
I don't think so.
Oh, you know what? I think we watched that here because John brings that up.
Oh, yeah.
So we did have an experimental film class where it was just like moth wings pasted to celluloid to, film.
Oh, okay.
And it's like a 15-minute, 20-minute thing. Like,
sure.
What does it mean?
Yeah. 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 I mean, it's for some people. It wasn't really for me. But that's kind of why I found Production Club, because Production Club was a bunch of kids who just wanted to make films and kind of wanted to teach themselves how to do that. It was we just kind of all networked together and just figured it out. And I think that was just super beneficial because, we were able to get the red one and work with a real camera and work a real gaffer and, have a truck, learn all the lights and kind of just learn how to navigate and how to be on a set. So a lot of the people who went to Milwaukee and are working in the industry currently kind of had some sort of drive to learn something else and like from outside the classroom. There was a lot of people who didn't.
And it seems like a desire to just make movies.
Yeah. And it kind of, weeded out a lot of people. And, a lot of those people aren't really working in the industry and, I think they're happy doing what they're doing, but, that just wasn't for me. And I found a different path, and still made it work. I don't think I've ever been asked for my film degree, but, I have it. So,
yeah.
It was great meeting all the people there. There was a ton of great people who I met and, I still work with to this day. And, I owe a lot of my success to that.
Mm-hmm.
because they brought me into the industry and they were patient and taught me everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's just the connections that I made there that really kind of just made my career take off.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, through that I was able to get on set with a real gaffer and kind of learn lighting, and then I started. He eventually would bring me on to other sets, like as maybe a grip on a small shoot, and then I'd kind of started to snowball, and then I got introduced to other gaffers, and then it's just this business is all about all about who you know,
Mm-hmm.
and just having a good attitude, really. If you have a great attitude, you
Mm-hmm.
can change. I mean, like I'll hire you in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know. You don't have to know everything.
Right.
I can teach you, or someone can teach you. It's that's just something you can't teach someone, is to have a good attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Yeah. That's so important to have that work ethic. And I think that's maybe a reason people might not want to go into this business is because they think they're not talented, or I could never do anything like that. But I think anyone with a good work ethic and a desire will get to where they want to be. And I think that's just the gumption and the stay with it. Oh, you froze for a second. It was hilarious. It was kind of like this. You were
yeah,
blinking.
you froze a little bit too. So
um, that gumption is so important, and I think it's fundamental to being a filmmaker, because something goes wrong, or you were asking if we could show a particular project which hasn't released yet, so we can't show it, but you had just rewatched it, and you're like, oh, if we only had more time over here and there and this and that. And that's kind of like the crux of filmmaking is,
mhm.
like, how much time do we have, what do we have to work with, and how can we make the best thing out of it. And certainly there's people who are just ridiculously talented. I'm not one of them, but I think I can outwork any problem, and I can come to a solution. So if we're having an issue, can come to something that can solve that. So even if we don't have enough time, be able to be able to handle it in that way. So yeah, I want to talk about school a little bit too. I have 6 kids. You have 2, like you mentioned before. We're gonna
Yeah.
have to pay for their life for the next, X amount of years, and it's a joy to be able to have these little people around. And COVID has been really fun and kind of a return to family, which I love. Of like, let's
Hmm.
find interesting things to do together. Um, and it's certainly an encouragement to me in that way. But we're gonna have to pay for their life and potentially some school. But my experience and my understanding of the world as it is right now is there are some jobs that the prerequisite is a degree, and there's a lot of jobs where the prerequisite is not a degree. And that doesn't mean you're going to make a lot more money if you have a degree than if not. Because like you mentioned, no one's ever asked to see your degree. And
Yeah.
like a trade person, um, your plumber or your electrician or even a handyman. um, I've never asked to see anybody's degree in that. It's just uh, their reviews and how people talk about them and how they've served other people. So for me, I really want all my children, when they're at high school, like, do you know exactly what you want to be? And if they don't know exactly what they want to be, then we're going to take some time and figure that out. And then if they do know exactly what they want to be, we're going to evaluate if they need to go to college. Because, and this is just a personal opinion, I feel like college, it has very specific uses and is necessary for a very specific set of jobs, but it's not necessary for a lot. Like, I don't think college is necessary for what I'm doing. And
Sure.
it's been through my experience that I've kind of seen that. And Luke, who you've worked with, who out of high school came and worked with us a little bit. He went to college a little bit and then took a break and continued to work with us. And I feel like his experience is more valuable than what I learned in college. And maybe in 2 years, 1 or 2 years, while he got paid to work for us, um, just from my outside perspective, seemed more valuable because he came on set and just did anything. And he did anything in the office and he just helped out. It's kind of like,
Hmm.
starting at the Fortune 500 company as a mail boy,
Yeah.
and then you're running it 20 years later or whatever. I kind of joke that I feel like he's going to be running the show here. Um, but he did a little bit of college and then stopped and has done more work. And now we'll even send him out on some shoots, so he can do more and more each year. And him after 2 years is so far advanced compared to where I was after my 4 year degree. If any of my children want to go into production, the questions that I'm going to ask them are like, is it worth it to spend the money to make the connections? Because, like you said, those connections are so important. And we
Hmm.
hear those stories about those directors who met in college or who were lived together and they moved to New York together, they moved to California together. And that is so valuable to them. Um, but you have to ask yourself, how much is that connection worth? You know, could you go out there as an 18-year-old? If you want to do the LA thing, could you go out to LA and just start working? Um, and the people that I know who've gone out there, the answer is yes. And nobody's being asked for a degree. You
Yeah.
start as an assistant to the assistant editor, and that might just be doing officey things. You're not even editing. And then at
Hmm.
some point, they're like, "Hey, can you do this little bit of editing?" And then they can do a little bit of editing. And then once they've been there for a little while, they can do a little bit more. So it takes a bit of time. I think I don't know if he says 7 years is kind of the number. Seven's a wonderful number, a holy number, but it takes some amount of gumption. And do you want to start that when you're 18, 19? Do you want to start that when you're 21, 22, right? With a bunch of
Sure.
debt. And so that's a super long monologue. Uh, just kind of my thought on it, and not because
Yeah.
like I don't want to pay for my children. Like if every one of my kids want to go to college, I will do whatever I need to get them as much money as I can to help facilitate that. But from my own experience, from seeing Luke, from seeing other people in our industry, I feel like there's different paths that people can go where you don't come out and you have $80,000 in debt or $100,000 in debt.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think it depends on the type of person you are. I think it can be great. But yeah, like you said, you don't really need it for our industry. Like to own a business, you just say you're a business and come up with a name and like I'm a business now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can go make it a little bit more legal by just going to the state and be like, I want to be an LLC and pay $130 or $50 or whatever, and
Yeah.
you're more established business. And then, um, you know, I think it's just kind of having a head on your shoulders. But I think what college did for me, like, although like the schooling wasn't what I thought it would be, I think it taught me a lot.
Hmm.
I made a lot of like dumb mistakes, and I was a kid at the time. I don't think I was really an adult, and I grew up a lot
Mm-hmm.
during that time. So I think it depends on where you're at and like what type of personality you have. But yeah, I mean, if you want to be a PA on set, that's the best place to learn. Not in a classroom.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be a cinematographer in Hollywood, maybe getting a bachelor's degree and then like getting a master's later, that'll definitely. I think you have to do that actually to be like ASC or something like that. Don't quote me on that. You don't have to.
You
Okay.
don't. You just have to be sponsored by a current ASC member.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, either way, that would get you more connections in
Yeah.
that regard. But
Yeah.
yeah, how much is that worth? Is it worth getting the 80 grand in debt, or
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'd say if you're in Wisconsin, you're sticking around Wisconsin, it's not really beneficial in like you're not going to learn anything that you wouldn't learn on like if you went on like did a lot of short films.
Yeah.
Like the way I learned was by getting on a lot of free short films, um, and just making those connections that way too. How
Mm-hmm.
driven are you? How are you like the great thing about college for me was that it put me in this place that a lot of people. were around that were really creative and wanted to do a similar thing, and we kind of were like, hey, we got this guy shooting the short film this weekend, do you want to like come grip on it? And it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
let's do it. um, so I think if you can find those connections elsewhere or somewhere else for a ton less money, then then do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
do it.
Well, and that's a good point too. I was not an adult when I went into college either, and so that's maybe for me one of those strong ideas as well. And you're right to say, every person is different, and you got to kind of figure it out for yourself. And I don't want to disparage anyone who's currently at my alma mater, the University of Wisconsin Madison. I finished my years there, I'm getting a film degree. I don't want to disparage anyone there. Instead, I want to encourage them to use it for all the resources that are there, like you had mentioned, the clubs, the connections to other people, the equipment. I mean, that's legit. You have access to equipment that you would not be able to have access to before. Um, but also, I think too, educational wise, like we're in such a different world now than we were 10 years ago, or 7 years ago when you graduated. 7 years ago, yeah, or a little bit longer when I graduated.
Yeah.
Where there's Shane Hurlbut, who has Hurlbut Academy, which is amazing content, and he takes you on set and shows you, here's a PA, here's a grip, here's a gaffer, here's all this, here's how I direct, here's how I DP, here's how I prep, here's how I do all this stuff. And you can sign up for that stuff for, I don't know, $10 a month, $15 a month, Netflix cost. And that's something that's super unique that we never had. We have camera reviews, we have here's how to do this. And so I think there's just great opportunities. And maybe it's just more specifically in our field that we have that. I don't have a lot of experience in other fields. I think accounting, you're going to need to go to a lot of schooling.
Yeah.
Engineering, you're going to need a lot of schooling. Medicine, law, like you're going to need a lot of schooling, and teaching as well. But certainly what we do, I think there's lots of different paths. So thanks for kind of sharing your story on that. But I do want to look at some of your work. So I do have your website up here. So let me see if I can switch this, and then let me make sure that I don't lose your audio.
Sure.
My
Website
total
is super old, and outdated. So,
by the way, I looked at your website. I do have your audio. I looked at your website and I was like, this looks really great. I need to update mine like Jordan's. I think I have just my photo that I use everywhere is a photo that you took.
Oh yeah.
The red and blue.
Yeah,
where I'm just kind of looking
photo.
off to the side like a douchebag.
No, you look good.
I think it's a good photo, but I feel kind of douchey because I'm a super nerdy filmmaker. And I feel like, this is an offhanded comment, but I feel like you make me look cool. So thank you for that.
You are cool, Ryan.
Hey, that's what I was looking
cool.
for, and that's our show today. So yeah, let's see. I have your work page up here. What is studio mode? What's the easiest way to, or what do you want to show? What do we want to look at? I know I'm super proud that a lot of our projects are on here. Like, I love that. I love that, like, you're our guy. But what do you want to show? What do you have on here that we can't hear the audio? So
sure. I honestly don't really remember. I know I have like some safety net stuff. Daniel Kinney is he's helping me with a reel, so that should be coming out soon. Nice. But yeah, it looks like, so we have. Oh yeah, we could do the safety net stuff, or the LifeTree Financial, and yeah, that one was a fun one. That was a cool one too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe the first one, the best day ever.
Yeah, and you can go ahead and talk through this because we don't hear any audio.
Sure. Yeah, this was a fun one. I mean, it was.
Wait, this is the wrong one. Sorry.
Oh yeah. The next. Yep, there you go. Yeah, I like the best day ever one. Was really fun. That was a great crew. on that one. Great crew on the other one as well. But yeah, this one. This was it a 2-day shoot or was it a 1-day shoot? I think it was 2 days, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was 2 days because we also started at like Scott's house at one point too. Let's see.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, at like 4 a.m.
Refresh. Come on. This is not like your typical Zoom interaction. Here, let me try and reload the page. Yeah, but maybe talk a little bit more about it and kind of our
Sure.
approach to it.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of uh, a shoot for safety net, and we wanted to accomplish like these highlights throughout this little girl's day, and how you know this mom spent a little more money than she should have, but it was like totally worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if you want to go ahead and play it, will it work? Yeah.
Dang it. Sorry, I tried to pause it because I'm hearing audio.
There you go.
You can talk over it though.
Sure. Yeah, I don't really don't really know what to talk about. That was a cool one. It was actually pouring outside, I think, during that
During
one.
this shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think actually a lot of this too was this thing, yeah, it was on it was on a movie for the first day.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and the other thing you don't realize, sorry that I don't think I can go back. Yeah. Things. Just, we made up the time of day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was raining outside for that too. And that was the other one was that was like the one before the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Was at like I think it was like in the morning because it was right after the intro shot, or that was at like I think it was at like 4 a.m. or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right when the sun, or maybe it was 5 when the sun was getting up.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, overall, I think we just had a really great crew on this one. I think that's the biggest thing when shooting is just you're having a really solid crew that just like is really good at everything. I always try and hire people who are better at me than things, because I feel like that just helps you succeed, like helps everybody succeed, and just everybody learns a little bit, hopefully. If I can learn something new every shoot, I consider it a successful shoot. You get in all these certain situations and having all these like, I started as a gaffer, or I gripped coming up through the lighting side and eventually working my way to a gaffer. So I have like a very particular way on how I see things and light things. But when I hire a gaffer, I try and hire someone who I know will like question me on everything and will bring their own ideas. If it's me just like listing off things, it's like I feel like it's never as good as it can be, because just having that little extra touch of creativity definitely helps.
You're just in an echo chamber, and you're your own worst enemy in that. And that's what I've always appreciated about our relationship as well, because you have just so much more set experience and knowledge in terms of kind of your grip knowledge, your gaffer knowledge, and your all that stuff, because you've gone through that path, as opposed to me just coming out and being like, no, I'm a director, and eventually convincing people, and then eventually learning how to do that stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of went around backwards, but I feel like I feel like it's always so beneficial when I'm on a set with you, because I learn things, and we have grown in our communication to where we can just be like, oh yeah, let's do that sidey thing. Remember from that one time, or that one move, let's do that. And so we have a shorthand, we have a way to communicate. And I feel like every time I do learn stuff from you as well, because a lot of what we do too is kind of more of small, and some of it becomes medium style shoots, but you've been on large shoots to where you can bring that other experience as well and say, hey, let's try this thing with equipment we've never done before. So that's always been super valuable to us.
Yeah. I mean, I always learn something new with you guys too. Like, it's just good working together.
Perfect.
Enjoy it. Yes.
I'm just going to take all the compliments, just keep them coming. We're recording this forever. So
And I think one of the great things about, I mean, not to suck up to you guys some more, but I feel like you guys always have really interesting projects. Like the safety net one, it's just like, a lot of stuff I do ends up being like, a lot of like corporate stuff, a lot of like interviews and, stuff that like is, it's fine.
Hmm.
But it's not like we actually got to create like a story with this safety net, best day ever spot. And then with the worst stuff ever, that was just a that was a good one. Um,
That
I
was a
like,
blast for Lifetree
yeah,
Financial.
yeah, Life Tree Financial. Yep, not yep.
Yeah, well, and
um,
that's, I mean, like, a friend of ours, I haven't seen it. Okay, so I say a friend. Now I forget his name, and I sound like an idiot. But a guy who came here and directed for a company, and then away, and now I think he's back. So I knew him for a very brief period of time while he was here. Had said, there's always making donuts, and what's that like? And certainly interview driven stuff is making donuts, but I always want everything, even the donuts that we make,
mhm.
to be the most awesome donuts. Maybe not
Yeah,
Hertz donuts, because like you have a Hertz donut once and then you're like, that's way too much Fruit Loops on my donut. Um, but
yeah,
maybe where do we go? Greenbush, like Greenbush, the maple blueberry, like it's just a very simple cake, blueberry with maple frosting on top, but it's like the best donut in the world. And that's what I want our more making donuts work, our interview docu style stuff. I want that to be amazing as
yeah,
well. But we do also try to push people like, let's do something nuts, like the
yeah,
worst elf ever here.
yeah. It's just there's nothing wrong with interviews or anything. It's just more so that this just kind of breaks it up a little bit. You always try and do your best job on every single job, and yeah, like this one in particular was just it was a funny script and like some good casting and it was just a fun time. We had to this was like the Lake Mills grocery store in like was it the middle of like June or something like that. We
Yeah,
like started at like 8 p.m. and like worked until like 5 p.m. or something or 5 a.m. And
it was
they had
nuts.
the props on like art deck and everyone like I think it was that like Madalena and Luke and
Yep.
um, I
And
can't remember.
nobody had any supplies anywhere. We had some stuff available. We bought some other stuff. Um, when you see a shot, that's literally all the decoration that we have. And then you see another
Yeah,
shot, and we move all the decoration over because, yeah, it was in the summer that we did this.
yeah. Hence why there's not a ton of camera movement.
Yeah, right, right. Well, and it
um,
was it was a little more standard kind of commercial.
yeah,
Love it though. Like I love the script.
yeah.
Um, what was it? That line that he just said. You couldn't hear it, but like as you're talking, I'm also hearing what's playing.
Oh, you're hearing it? Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
there's even there's like Christmas lyrics in there as well, which are great. But this is one of those too that it's like, let's just make this look like a glorious commercial, because I think a lot of
Yeah.
times we're like, here's an interesting style that's like in a movie, and let's try and
Hmm.
go with that. This was one of our bigger commercials that we'd done, and the point wasn't to be stylistic in a genre sort of way. The point was to see the comedy, feel it, and have the production value just be very, very high and get out of the way. So this was a unique example too, where I think we nailed it, you nailed it, just looking like all that stuff you see on TV. And that's, we work on commercials, we work on promos, but like there's always that. I feel like I have that imposter syndrome. Like somebody's gonna find out that I don't know what I'm doing, despite the work that they saw, that they loved, that they came to us to create. Like there's always that
Yeah,
idea of imposter syndrome. But I feel like on this one, just through and through, it was like every step, like yes, 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 even working until we were falling over at 5 a.m.
yeah, yeah. That was a fun one. Yeah, I think a lot of like it's not there's not like one specific thing that like makes like something good. It's like everything that makes it good. It's like
Mm.
it's the art direction, it's the makeup, it's the hair, it's the camera lens, it's the camera, it's the talent, it's, you know, everything. That just when you can get them like working together,
Hmm.
it like kind of it makes this like cinematic thing. I never want to like just have like a lighting truck and then like no art direction whatsoever. I'd rather most of the time it's like I'd rather have like more art direction and less lighting, and I'll
Hmm.
make it work. Just because it's so impactful that way. It's kind
Hmm.
of just catering to the story and trying to figure out what it really needs.
Right. Yeah, and this is a one too, not with us, but still really awesome. I don't remember the content per se, but I do remember the visuals um, on it.
This, yeah,
Obviously there's a unique grade on here, but just love the storytelling in the shots.
this was actually a shoot that was just it was really really short. I had like one light and a camera and a window right there, and not a lot. I think the shoot was probably a few hours, and
Hmm.
um, yeah, I was
What'd you
with
shoot it on?
this was on the FS7.
Mm.
We had zine primes, um,
And sorry, what was the lensing?
the zines.
Ah, your favorite.
Yeah. Yep.
We have the just the regular Rokinon Cines, which is the same glass, but just not a.
Yeah.
I guess the zines are this cinema style. The Rokinon are like just their first. There's not a name for it. There's like regular Rokinons and then the Rokinon zines, which are like the cinema have the bigger
Yeah.
ring.
It actually came out with newer ones that are like more compact and light and like lighter as well. So
Oh, oh yeah, yeah,
yeah,
like the two Zine two or something like
yeah,
that.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
This next project, I mean, this was part of uh, this whole like branding with MG&E.
the MGE genre series.
Yeah, it was with Charlie Warner. I believe you had him on, right?
Oh yeah,
Shout out to
Charles was a
Charlie.
couple ago.
Yeah, yeah. He always came to us with these really interesting ideas, and you know, we just kind of put everything into it and just made it work. It was real small crews, but like that made it more fun, and we made it work with what we had, and
Hmm.
always came up with something really really cool. These are some of like my favorite shoots that I've worked on. The EV Land one, particularly, I'd say is probably like one of my favorites.
Yeah,
Um, this one was fun though.
yeah, this was good because it was maybe the most not cinematic, but most TV esque or film esque in how we produced it.
Sure.
Um, like a very big narrative because all the other stuff primarily was docu style.
Yeah.
So we kind of caught stuff. Electricity, I loved. MGE Electricity. I don't know. I'll think of the name, but it's the
The
sci-fi one that we shot.
oh, electric. Wait, which one? Electric City.
Electric City. That's why I was confused. Yeah, yeah. Good call. I have the poster right over here too.
Ooh.
Um, but that one was also docu style, but also I had planned out the shots, and then when we showed up, we're like, okay, this is this shot, and that one was amazing too because like I feel like we used shadow a lot in that one
Hmm.
because it was sci-fi, and that's always been a fun thing too, working with you and different cameras and figuring out our styles. Like this again is several of our Ursas. You can see the or Black Magic. You can see the Black Magic Production 4K right there. But then we had an Ursa over here, and like even with fixed pattern noise and issues that you have with the camera, we were able to come up with really great stuff. And that's been a blast of like I want silhouettes and I want to see those windows. And then you're
Yeah.
like, okay, what lights do we have? And then you go, yeah, it's confusing too to me. Like I don't know which projects I'm directing on and your cinematographer on because like we always work in such an integral way. Like
Yeah.
sometimes it ends up being a budget question of like, okay, I have budget for you to be a gaffer, but and you don't have to operate the camera, but I'm gonna need all your input. you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. I haven't watched this video in a while. It's good to see it. Do you have to do the little circle thing around so it keeps playing?
Oh yeah, are you seeing my mouse? You're seeing,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's
No
funny.
one else is seeing my mouse. They're just seeing the
Oh, okay.
video.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Um, for those watching at home, Jordan can see my screen, so he can see all the broadcasting stuff, and I have to move my mouse in order for it to keep playing, and it's super janky. It's how we do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was another one that was an
It
overnight
just looks
kind of
so
thing.
good.
I think we started at
It
like,
was.
sunset
Yeah.
and went till like, 3 or 4 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it was just kind of it was a cool
And after
idea.
this, Charlie said, "No more overnights." It is hard. It's very hard to do.
Yeah, yeah, especially with the family and,
Yeah.
trying to, if you have a shoot the next day or something, that always kind of throws it in for a wrench. But yeah,
Oh, looks so good.
and that's your daughter. She
Yeah.
did a great job.
This was such a cool shoot too for me to see like the uh the younger generation, the youth of the nation. That's a VFX shot. Um but it was great because there was a shot earlier and there's a line where Bree says, "Why is there a creepy white girl outside my window?" And while we're on set that night, my daughter Claire was like, "What does that mean?" And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" And she's like, "Creepy white girl." She's like, "I'm not white. I'm like yellow or peach." And I was like, "Oh, you don't understand like these bad racial stereotypes, like black and white. You don't understand those types of things." I feel like I took that as a little bit of a, hey, we're doing things right. That she didn't understand that. She didn't understand the line. She's like, why would she say something like that? I'm not white. I'm yellow. And she's like, okay, well, she's not really black. She's like tan or brown. I was like, yes, you don't have all that baggage. And I hope that our children cannot have that baggage and can just do better and be awesome. You know?
Yep, that'd be great. Uh, that'd be good. Yeah, it's funny. Like kids nowadays, that I had a friend who has a daughter, and she asked him like, "Why do we say hang up a phone? Like, what does that mean?" We're like,
Yes,
"Oh yeah, like yeah, we did have to hang up phones and stuff." And
absolutely. Yeah. Why do you hang up a phone? And why is
yeah,
that icon? Let's see if I can pull it up here. Um, let's see.
yeah, why is it?
Why is it, that? What is that device? You
Yeah.
can't see it. Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. What is that? Oh, that's a corded phone, or that's a rotary phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun things. And I think I saw somebody talk about design, like icons that we made in the 90s and 2000s don't make sense to anyone who was born after 2000 for that reason. Like a phone
Hmm.
is not that handset. This is a phone. A phone is a rectangle.
Yeah. 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 I mean, this was a good project. It was it's one day shoot, one night shoot, um, probably 10 hours, something like that, maybe a little bit more, but
Yeah, probably more.
a little more, yeah. Um, but yeah, that was based off kind of. That's the cool thing with working with Charlie is he always came to us with like, these movie inspirations. That
Yep.
particular one was Stranger Things, so
Hmm.
it kind of took a little bit of a little bit of a vibe from that. But then like he always want to mix stuff together, and like there was one shoot where he did like he wanted to like kind of like Mr. Robot. I think that was Electric City, so we tried to
Hmm.
bring a lot of that framing and cinematography into it. And then another one was like Baby Driver, taking inspiration from that. Um,
Baby Driver and La La Land.
yeah, La La Land. Yeah, that was a fun one. That's the one that has still not been released, but hopefully sometime.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it should be soon, from what Charlie said last time.
yeah.
So yeah, that's super exciting. Oh, I haven't been looking at questions, so we looked at a lot of work. Let's look at the questions. Luke says we need a backflip donut review show. Yes. Um, John is looking extra handsome today. We'll take that as a compliment. Don't let John know. Um, Carbon fiber. Axel Contreras. Do you know an Axel Contreras?
I do not.
Well, hello. He says hello. So hello to Axel. Thanks for
Hello.
tuning in. Um, and then Aaron Williams, our great. I don't want to call you a fan. Like we're so cool that we have fans, but you often view and comment, and you're great and make fun of us, and I love it. Um, where where did we find the women? Very naturally expressive. Um, I don't know when that came in, so let's see. Aaron, if you're still watching, let us know which video you were talking about, and we can give you a more specific answer because I don't have the timing on that one, but we can answer that. Yeah. In the meantime, let's go ahead and play a little game that I told you about earlier called Two Truths and a Lie. Ah. I feel like I need my kids to do like some art, kind of like Some Good News with John Krasinski. Have you seen that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Some Good News logo and graphics are all like hand drawn by children. So I feel like our children should, and then we could have a good song for that part.
Hmm.
Anyway, the way we play is you tell three different things. Two of them are truths. One of them is a lie. You can guess at home. You and I will guess as well. Whoever guesses correctly wins. Um, and what we win is we get to play Warzone, or we can play. We'll play some video games. That's one thing we never talked about. We play video games when we have free time or availability, and I love that about our relationship, that we can hang out and just do these other fun things that we love as well, because we love filmmaking and we love that, doing that together, but also we kind of share video games. So I appreciate that about you.
For sure. Yeah.
um,
It's fun.
Erin says meet her things. She talked with her hands a lot, even though I couldn't hear her. She seemed like a great actress. So Bree came from. She actually has a vlog. I don't remember it off the top of my head, but she regularly vlogs. She part of the genre series is working with people in the community, millennials who are doing just interesting things and to communicate them. So it was kind of like taking a look at her life, but we added the horror genre or thriller genre on top of it with the scary stuff. So she was somebody who Charlie was aware of and friends with in the area, doing something just very unique. So she's a vlogger. She's very comfortable talking and being on camera. And that's a part of that series, aside from the latest where we had actors and dancers. All the other ones in the genre series are just people who are doing just unique, awesome stuff. And we're telling it in a unique way, whether it's a black and white, the barbershop story, which was like do the right thing, I believe, or Electric City, which has those elements of Mr. Robot and Scarlett Johansson, that really creepy sci-fi movie Under the Skin. Go brain power, whatever it is. Oh, your video is doing that. It's awesome.
Is it?
I wish I could like plan that and do it with a button. It's so very unique. That's Skype resizing. This is a part of the joy of live. Um, but yeah, she's a vlogger. She does this type of thing. Very comfortable, very awesome. And then the little girl is my daughter. So we just forced her to do it because she looked like 11 in Stranger Things, Millie Bobby Brown. And she's actually, her mom says, Millie, it's time for dinner. Really fun. So, all right. Please post more questions if you have them for Jordan. We'll answer them after the game. This is Two Truths and a Lie. All right. So, my first truth, I'll go first because you're more interesting. So, we'll give you a bit of time to think about it, and then we'll save the best for last. So, you can think about it while I'm telling my three truths. So, my first truth is that I will be 40 in 2 years. I did mention when I graduated earlier in the show, but you don't know if I graduated high school or not. So that's truth number one. I'll be 40 2 years. Truth number two, my 3-year-old rode on the back of our van for an hour on Monday for like a mile or so. She rode on the back of the van for a mile, a 3-year-old on Monday. And the third truth that I have as I vamp to think about a lie or a truth to tell is that I was born in 1984.
It's two ones related to age.
Yeah. I shouldn't have done that because now it's a little clear which ones are a lie. All right. Anybody at home watching, let us know. What do you think they are?
I don't know.
What do you got, Jordan?
I don't know. That you said you're 3-year-old
3-year-old.
for an hour,
For a mile
a mile. Okay.
is what I said. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And 84, you said.
84.
So that'd make you. Oh, okay. Okay. What are people at home saying?
Yeah. So Erin says she rode on the back of the van on Monday, not Tuesday. I thought I said Monday, but that's a way that we can play. We can play with just a very small detail being different. Luke just says LOL. So you got to choose. What is it?
I have to choose. I have to choose.
Luke also says I need to pre-plan my lies and truths. Luke, you need to pre-plan. Luke, what's
Yeah.
your guess? Or Tuesday, not Monday, Aaron says. Yeah. So Luke, you still vote. Anyone else who's watching should vote. And Jordan, gotta vote for me.
Oh, do I do that on the Facebook thing?
Nah, because they're watching on Facebook, so you could
Oh,
just
I
say
suppose.
it.
Okay. Yeah. Guess I am live streaming. So, yeah, I think. Can't remember exactly what age you are, but I think you're. I think you're 30, 36. So I don't think first.
Lost you there for a second, but you don't think number 1 is true. You think number 3 is true.
Yeah.
Brittany says the first one. That'll be 40 in 2 years. So what's your guess? Which one's the lie?
Oh, what's my guess?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Everyone's waiting for your guess.
Oh, sorry. I thought there was more answers. I'm not looking at the thing.
Nope.
I think the first one, yeah.
Okay. So then I'm going to be 40 in 2 years. Luke,
Mm.
you got to guess. Okay. The lie is your daughter riding on the van. All right. So the lie is, in fact, the first one. I'm going to maybe keep using that just to confuse people. because I can't grow any facial hair, so I feel like I'm gonna look like a baby forever. But I am 35 years old. My birthday is in December, so I won't be 36 until December. But that makes the number 3. I was born in 94. Correct.
Thought so.
And then number 2 is the scariest effing thing in the world. Our 3-year-old, my wife left the house. I believe it was Monday. Sorry, Aaron. I'm pretty sure it was Monday. My wife left the house with the van. She thought the kids had all gone inside and had driven through our neighborhood and then got on East Washington. And she's driving, and then somebody's honking and going crazy, and somebody else is driving up beside her. And then it's like, roll down your window. And then they're like, there's somebody in the back. And she couldn't really hear it, but they're like, somebody back, something. She looks in the mirror and she sees like hair, like outside the van, like poking up.
Oh man.
And so she like loses her shit, pulls over. I don't know if I can curse. Sorry. Pulls over, and our 3-year-old is like holding onto the door, standing on the runner, like on East Wash, and like a couple people stopped and making sure Monica's okay. And our 3-year-old's like, "Can you put me in my car seat, please?" So like
That's
that's
crazy.
like the scariest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, thank God, thank our guardian angel that the highway is closed next to our house. Because normally she would jump on the highway and go like 55 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, thank
That's
God that she
crazy.
wasn't able to get on the highway, and she had to go through back roads that were like 30 miles an hour, 35 miles an hour. Still insane, but not 60 miles an hour, which like was nuts. Like,
Yeah. That's lucky.
yeah, uh, yeah. You know, you think about all the things that could have gone wrong,
Hmm.
fell off. It's insane.
I
Aaron
mean,
says, I don't know that I would tell many people that story. I'll tell the internet. I don't care. But my poor wife, like my 3-year-old was fine after she got home and thought it was funny and would, try to tell the other kids that it was funny. But we're like, no, it's not funny. That was not okay. That was super scary. That made us super sad and afraid. And like my poor wife, Monica, she saw the kids go inside and thought all the kids went inside. Like it's like the number one fear. You're gonna back over some kid when you're backing
yeah.
out. Also, very fortunate, I had turned the car around when we got back this weekend, so she only went forward. So
Mm.
again, so many things, so many amazing, nice people. To people were like going slow behind her to make sure if she fell off, like they would stop and help her. The most scary thing ever. Yeah, good people doing good things. Yeah, that's it. So hopefully now you've had enough time
Yeah.
to think of your 2 truths
I got some.
and a
I got
lie.
some.
All right, what do you
Yeah.
got for us?
All right. So, first one is I played in a band that played at Summerfest.
Hmm. When did you
Um,
play in Summerfest?
when did I play?
Yeah.
I think it was probably 2011.
Okay.
My stage name was The Postman. Um, my other one is that our younger son Ezra.
Oops, we lost you there for a second.
Um,
You said
sure.
you said your younger son
My
Ezra.
has a Brooklyn accent.
Oh.
Um, yeah, yeah. And then the other one is I once stepped on Brett Favre's foot, and he got mad at me. Oh shoot.
Okay. These are good ones. So the first one is that you were in a band that played at Summerfest in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is your youngest son Ezra has a Brooklyn accent. And number 3 is that you once stepped on Brett Favre's foot on what?
On a shoot.
On shoot. These are really good. I don't know if you've watched the show before, but John has kind of come up with the good strategy of like a friend's story. Like if you tell a friend's story as your own, it sounds believable. So these all sound very believable. I think yeah, Luke says follow that up. Tell us a crazy story. So let us know what you guys think, Aaron and Luke and anyone else. But number one, you played in a band that was at Summerfest. I don't know. Like I feel like a bad friend for not knowing this. Like if you played in a band before. But I feel like you're kind of the kind of person that could. Like you'd be great in a band, assuming you could play something or sing or whatever. Number two, the Brooklyn accent thing is so specific. I think that's definitely true. If you like are like, oh, it's a Queens accent, Queen accent, Queens.
It was Boston, is what I meant. Did I say Brooklyn?
Boston. I think you said Brooklyn. I heard Brooklyn, but the internet will correct me.
Yeah, I'm sure I said Brooklyn.
Boston. All right. If it's like a very specific distinction, you're a jerk, but you're good at this game. Like if it is like, no, it's a Kansas accent. So I believe number two is correct. True. Number three, Brett Favre's foot. I feel like that's something that you could have done, but I just want to believe number one and number two. So, your wife says you can't even get your own truths correct. That's amazing. And Luke says the lie is the last one. I think the last one's a lie as well. I think you might have been on set with somebody who did that, but I feel like you're a very careful person. Like I don't feel like you would have stepped on Brett Favre's foot. I feel like you're better than that. I feel like that was somebody else's story. And let's see. Oh, Jeff says they're all true. The lie is that he's not lying about any one of them, which has happened. I've done it on accident. And who was it? Brent Hoffman did it on accident as well. So, all right. We got 2 votes for number 3. We got your wife saying, you don't know what's true. You're going to have a talk tonight about your past life as a rock star. And Jeff thinks they're all a lie. And you're going to have to work on that relationship after this show. All right, what is it?
So it's the last one. I did not step on Brett Favre's foot.
Nice.
So the first one, it was 2012 actually. That's why she's saying. She texted me. She's like, it was 2012, and I was like,
oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. So I did play at Summerfest and in a band.
Oh, awesome. What genre?
It was like alternative rock. I was the bassist. Called Ordinary Fiction. Could play some of the music sometime. And then the second one is a Boston accent, so I messed that up. So, but yeah, we just ask him. There's every once in a while we'll ask, be like, Ezra, say park the car in the yard, and he'll be like, park the car in the yard.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really funny. We don't know where it came from, but
that's so worth it. Yeah. Also, we're like, this kid has a speech impediment, and we got to fix his Oz. We got to fix his Oz.
He's just from Brooklyn, I guess. Right?
Boston. Oh, there you go. You confirmed it. Yeah. Yeah, your wife's like, the Summerfest gig was 2012. We fell in love. Don't forget it.
Fell in love before that.
Okay. That's true. Were you high school sweethearts? I can't remember.
No, we actually, so in my semester off from Stout, we met working at a movie theater together. And then I went to Milwaukee.
Everyone, if movie theaters exist after this, oops, sorry, I lost you there for a second. If movie theaters exist after this, everyone should work at a movie theater because they're amazing.
Yeah, they're fun.
And you'll find your wife, your soulmate.
Yeah, a beautiful, beautiful wife.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful boy. You know what that's from?
It's from what's that kids show?
Mr. Holland's Opus, not a kids show.
Oh no! Oh really?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever saw that. But it's in that. I can't remember what it's called, but it's in a kids show.
I think this is boy. But yeah, it's from Mr. Holland's Opus, which you should watch. Okay, so we're wrapping up. It's great. We went over time. That means we had a lot of fun. Um, what do you have to recommend? What do you want to plug? So give me a recommendation on something to watch and anything you want to plug.
Recommendation, something to watch. You watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, just
yeah.
what you're
Oh,
loving right now. It's okay if I've seen it.
well, we saw. There's one with Andy Samberg and the girl from How I Met Your Mother that Brittany and I just watched. Um,
Colby Smothers.
no. What one was it, Brittany? Um, it's like where they're stuck in a time loop. It came to Amazon.
What?
Um,
Andy Sandberg in
yeah,
a time loop?
yeah. Andy Samberg. He's in a time loop, and then
That
this
sounds
girl
amazing.
follows him, and she gets into the time loop too, and it's kind of
Oh,
their life together.
I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Yeah, it was really good.
Ooh, Jeff's yelling something. What's that, Jeff? Oh, there's a delay to the internet, so I don't know.
Okay, here, let me look up Andy Samberg. Palm Springs. That's it.
Palm Spring.
Yep,
Yes, he yelled it
Palm
again.
Springs.
Thank you, Jeff.
Palm Springs. Yeah, that was a good one. It was really good.
Oh my gosh, I love Andy Sandberg.
Yeah, yeah, that was good. And then for plugging, if people want to follow me, just look on my Instagram, Jordan H Post, just on Instagram, and it's probably the best way. You can also check out my website, or all my email is on there as well.
Yeah, your Instagram is amazing. I love
Thank
it.
you. I've done a really poor job lately of marketing, so I'm trying to get all my screenshots, and I'm getting a reel together here soon
Nice.
because everything's just so outdated. So yeah, I will be posting all that to Instagram. So that'll be the best way to follow me. I post stories on there too and stuff.
Perfect.
Um, but yeah,
Palm Springs and check you out online and hire Jordan if you need a
um,
cinematographer.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Cool. Yeah, we've been watching the last season of Teen Wolf on MTV. I know we're children, we're high schoolers. There's something so visceral. I want to like write on this. I want to learn about it. Like people or kids going to school and like amidst something fantastical is like such a genre. Like it's its own thing. You know, Harry Potter.
Hmm.
That people just love. Community, I guess, is another example on
Yeah,
the comedy side, right?
yeah.
So yeah, Teen Wolf is super fun. It's super visual. If you haven't seen it, Jordan, you should check it out just from a visual perspective. Like they do such an amazing job on the production. I think there's lots of other good elements as well, but it's a very beautiful show. So that's my plug. But thank you, Jordan, for
Yeah.
coming on. Apparently, Palm Springs also has J.K. Simmons, so
Oh yeah, it
check
does.
that
Yeah,
out. This
yeah,
this this is my favorite recommendation so far. I think.
yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah. So I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Oh,
I'll report back. Yeah. What?
also, you should check out. I worked on a Pete Souza doc that's coming out called "The Way I See It."
Oh.
That's going to be released to like theaters. I gaffed on it uh, with the DP from fuck Claire Popkin, the DP
Okay.
from Free Solo. So
Oh,
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. So you guys should check that out too.
That's amazing. Where can we see that?
I think it's going to be released to like theaters or something. I don't know. I don't know. They said theaters, but maybe some
Awesome.
streaming platforms or something. But you can check out Pete Souza's Instagram and on there.
The way I see it, Pete Souza, you froze there for a second,
Yeah,
but that's okay because I'm still
yeah,
talking.
yeah,
um,
yeah. Keep an eye out
awesome.
for that.
Yeah. Well,
Cool.
thanks for coming on and hanging out. We're at 1:30, which is our absolute limit. I don't want to keep anybody too long. We have sushi to go eat if they haven't already ate it all. Thank you, Jordan. This is a real pleasure. And if you have time this weekend, let's play some video games.
That sounds great. Let's do it.
Sweet. All right. Bye,
Cool.
everyone. Tune. Oh, I probably got to do this. Tune in next week when we have Ben Heckendorn of YouTube fame of the Ben Heck Show. He's a guy who did a YouTube show for many years, 7 years or 8 years, or I should know this. I should have written it down. Thanks, Luke. I should write notes for the show, but I can't produce and talk at the same time. Um, but he, kind of rose to fame after early 2000s. He created I believe it was a portable Xbox and was on the G4 TV, the network G4 TV. And since then has always made amazing gadgets and things because he just has a desire to problem solve and is an amazing fabricator and electrician and has all those skills. So check him out. He's probably Ben Heck on YouTube. You can just Google him and you can find him. He'll be on next week. And thank you again to Jordan. And that's how we can end it. Here we go. That's all. Let's go to the end screen. Bye.